Welcome to Pinnacle's NFL Best Bets for Week 11. I'm Anthony Bruno, joined by Scott Cullen on behalf of Pinnacle. Pinnacle is your trusted sportsbook for over 25 years, offering the best odds and best payouts in the industry. All right, Scott, we're coming off a pretty bad Week 10. It was probably our worst week of the season where we went 1-4. So we got to bounce back in Week 11. So let's not waste any time. Over to you for your first best bet on the Week 11
Anthony,
slate.
We're going to bounce back by going in and picking against an undefeated team. I am taking the Buffalo Bills on the money line at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know the Chiefs are 9-0, and Patrick Mahomes always pulls them out of the fire. But this Chiefs team, if you look at the underlying numbers, they are a good team. They're 11th in offensive EPA per play, 11th in defensive EPA per play. Well, the Bills are 3rd in offensive EPA per play and 10th in defensive EPA per play. So I think you can make an argument that the Bills are every bit the Chiefs equal before you get to the point that the Bills have home field advantage here. And so I know it's maybe a reach to go picking against the Kansas City Chiefs, but I really feel like the Bills, they're prepared to do this. That they're 3-1 against Mahomes during the regular season. Yes, they're 0-3 against him in the playoffs, but they have managed to get their wins in the regular season, and I think Josh Allen and company will do it this week.
So, Scott, I totally see where you're coming from with that analysis, but I am disagreeing with you here. I am rolling with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I do like them a little bit better at plus 2.5, minus 114. You can take them on the money line if you want as well. It's a hard trend to ignore. We talked about this a few weeks ago. As an underdog, Patrick Mahomes is 12-1-1 against the spread and 11-3 straight up. I know trends like this are not the be-all and end-all, but I think these are two very evenly matched football teams. I just think the Chiefs are a little bit better. The Bills also have a couple injuries that they're dealing with, like Keon Coleman's not going to play. Amari Cooper remains to be seen if he's going to play. It looks like Dalton Kincaid is probably going to miss this game. So that is a little bit of a concern for me on the Bills side of things. Still think it's going to be a great game, but I'm rolling with Mahomes and the Chiefs.
How dare you pick the team that continues to win every weekend?
How dare I pick the 9-0 team with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? All right. Yeah. I'm going to move on now to my first best bet on the slate, because that was just more of like a disagreement with your pick. But I will be I've already put a bet on the Kansas City Chiefs. I am going to be rolling with the Los Angeles Chargers minus 1.5 at minus 103 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. I just think the Chargers are a better team, and I get it. They haven't played the toughest schedule, but if you look at total DVOA, they're 10th, whereas the Bengals are 16th. This is going to be the best defense that the Bengals play all season. I know last week we saw Joe Burrow throw for over 4 football fields and Jamar Chase go absolutely ballistic in that game against the Ravens, but the Ravens have one of the worst pass defenses in football. They've been getting absolutely gashed through the air every single week. This is going to be a way tougher assignment. The Chargers, 2nd in EPA per play on defense, 4th in success rate, 2nd in dropback EPA, giving up an NFL low 13.1 points per game. I think the big thing in this matchup is going to be whether T. Higgins plays or not. When T. Higgins has been in the lineup, this team has been really good, and without him, they are 1-4 this season. I think this is a matchup specifically going up against a defense like this, where the Bengals are going to need T. Higgins right there alongside Jamar Chase. They're not going to be able to run the ball. Like, the Bengals are not a good running team, and if they're not going to be able to pick apart the Chargers through the air, I think the Chargers are in a really nice spot here. And then even the Chargers offense, they're throwing the ball a lot more. Since their Week 5 bye, Justin Herbert is 5th in EPA per play among QBs. They're throwing the ball a lot more, whereas earlier in the season, they were relying more on their running game. And the Bengals are just a bad defense. 28th in EPA per play, 29th in success rate. So we'll see what the status of T. Higgins is. He was a limited participant in practice on Wednesday, but he's missed the last 3 games with a quad injury. He missed time earlier in the season with a hamstring injury. Who knows how healthy he's actually going to be and how many snaps he's going to play if he actually ends up playing. So I'm going to be riding with the Chargers here, -1.5 at -103.
Yeah, your point about T. Higgins is bang on. Like when he is in the lineup, that Bengals offense is cooking, and they've been able to put up really big numbers. And I think they're entirely vulnerable when he's not there, and that's something that this Chargers defense, you can say, yeah, the offense is improving. They're starting to move it more, but their kind of tried and true path here is that they play tough defense and lock teams down. And I think if the Bengals don't have T. Higgins there, it becomes very easy for them to focus defensively on, okay, we're taking Jamar Chase out of this and make any other Bengals beat us. And I think there's some desperation here for the Bengals, right? Like if they're already in a tough spot trying to get back into the playoff hunt, and if they lose this game, it might just be, okay, that's it. It's not happening this year. So there is desperation there, but desperation isn't what gets you through. I mean, I think the defense of the Chargers is probably going to win the day.
Yeah, we'll see, because this is probably also going to be the best offense, or at least from a passing offense perspective, that the Chargers have played all season. So should be a great matchup on Sunday Night Football. Some amazing matchups this week, honestly. But Scott, let's go back to you now for your second best bet on the slate.
My second best bet is not one of the great matchups of the week. I'm going for a player prop in the Detroit Lions-Jacksonville Jaguars game. Amon-Ra St. Brown has scored a touchdown in 7 straight games. I'm going to pick him to do it for an 8th straight game at +119 at Pinnacle. Best price and market for that player prop. And, the Jaguars defense is abysmal. 32nd in defensive EPA per play, 31st in defensive DVOA. Like they're right at the bottom. And the thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown is that they're really playing a conservative passing game with him this year. He's averaging 9.7 yards per catch, which is, he's not a super deep threat, but 9.7 is awfully shallow. But they are making sure he gets his touches, and I think the Lions are probably going to move the ball up and down the field pretty easily against the Jaguars, and at some point, I see Amon-Ra St. Brown ending up in the end zone.
You know what's hilarious? I remember week 1, I had an Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown prop as one of my best bets. He, of course, didn't score a touchdown and had his worst game of the season. And then since then, he's been absolutely on fire. But no, listen, I'm right here with you. Like, this is a phenomenal spot for this Lions offense. Like, they should have absolutely no trouble moving the ball up and down the field at will, whether it's through the air with Amon-Ra St. Brown or on the ground with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Some of the props for the running backs are not posted yet. But take a look at whatever Jahmyr Gibbs' rushing yards total is. Also, anytime touchdown. Right now, best price at Pinnacle on a Gibbs anytime TD at -122. At some other places, it's like -140, -150, -160. So whether you're looking at Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown to score a touchdown, just some phenomenal prices across the board at Pinnacle compared to the rest of the industry. All right, let's move on now to my second best bet on the slate. So this team was originally the dog, and now they are the favorites. It is the Cleveland Browns on the road against the New Orleans Saints. I'll be rolling with the Browns on the money line at -111. I understand that some of the value has been stripped away because, as I mentioned, they used to be dogs and now they're the favorites. But I still like them to win this game. Listen, the Saints are not a good team, okay? I know they had the boost last week, new coach, playing an Atlanta Falcons team that has a terrible pass rush. They were able to win the game 20-17, but prior to that, they had lost 7 games in a row. Okay, they traded away Marshawn Lattimore. They have injuries across the board to all of their pass catchers. I don't know about you, Scott, but I don't trust Marquez Valdez-Scantling to put up Randy Moss numbers like he did last week. I'm just going to go out on a limb there. And like I mentioned, the Falcons, they have one of the worst pass rushers in the NFL. Whereas this week, the Saints are going up against a Browns team that are 6th in pass rush win rate. This is ESPN's pass rush win rate, whereas the Saints are 31st in pass block win rate. So there's a mismatch in the trenches here. And this is a really good spot as well, I think, to get Nick Chubb going. The Saints are 31st in rush EPA. They're giving up 141 yards a game on the ground. Nick Chubb, I know he's coming off a serious injury. He's only played 3 games. The last 2 weeks, he went up against some very good run defenses in the Ravens and the Chargers, and now he goes up against the Saints team. So I think this is a spot where the Browns can get Nick Chubb going. If you want to look at an anytime touchdown prop for him, Pinnacle also has the best price in market at plus 114. So yeah, I think the Browns are in a pretty nice spot here to get a win on the road against the Saints.
Yeah, you're not buying the new coach bounce for the Saints, expecting them to turn everything around for the long haul. You're going to give them their win last week and move on, which is fair. I mean, the Browns. It's funny, early in the year when we were, particularly going against Deshaun Watson at every opportunity. Now that they have Jameis Winston, at least we consider them. You never know really from one week to the next what you're going to get out of Jameis, but it feels like there's more upside there, and against a Saints team that really has been a mess, seems like good opportunity.
Yeah, there's always a risk in putting your money on Jameis Winston, who can come out here and throw 3 yes. or 4 interceptions, but I'm willing to do it anyway. Let's go, Jameis. Let's chuck that ball down the field. Let's get Nick Chubb going on the ground, and let's get to Derek Carr and pick up a nice road win here. So that's going to do it for our Week 11 NFL Best Bets. Like I say every single week, whether you're betting on main markets, player props, futures, you are going to get the best odds and the best payouts at Pinnacle. Pinnacle has some of the lowest margins in the industry, and that's why our odds are so good across the board. So listen, best of luck with your Week 11 Best Bets. We are hoping to bounce back. I'm feeling good. I think we're going to have a nice bounce back this week.
It can't be worse, Anthony.
But listen, as always, enjoy the football. Best of luck with your bets. We will be here chatting with you next week for Week 12. But until then, remember to bet smart and bet Pinnacle.